As a hobby in racing, I lost a lot of races, just the same as math tests in public school. I failed a lot of math tests, but I passed enough of them to graduate. I learned in racing how not to lose anymore. This is what I did wrong. This is what went wrong. I would analyze it afterwards and make sure I didn't do that again. People learn by making mistakes. A smart person told me in motorsports, nothing wrong with making a mistake. You're an idiot if you make the same one twice. Perfect. Nothing wrong with doing it once. So taught myself how not to lose, and was actually fortunate enough to get hooked up in the situation in racing. Don, I can barely see it from here, but you were around then. And won 2 Canadian national championships as a crew chief in stock car racing. Must have kind of had a pretty good idea of what I was doing. Since then, Kevin calls me. After the championships, I actually got out of racing for a little bit, had to get a normal job. Normal jobs suck. A bad day racing's better than a good day working at a bank. Nothing against anybody who works at banks, but for me, numbers, it's poison. Not going to go anywhere with that. Don't like it. Sorry, there's people that work at banks, but I'm not an accountant. I'm not an English major. I won't correct anybody's exams. But I might be able to fix your car if you got a question. So I'm not in racing for a short period of time. I get a call from Kevin. I'm going to come to Delaware. Well, I'm pretty opinionated sometimes too. I formed a lot of opinions. I've been through an enormous amount of stress, so the stress of the racetrack can't be any worse than things I've already been through. We'll go to the racetrack. I can remember working at Delaware, and one of the first times Kevin came to me really frustrated. Has anybody seen the Muppet Show when you got the 2 old puppets that sit up in the gallery there and they bitch about the show all night long? We had 2 season ticket holders that sat in the grandstand and did exactly that to Kevin. Every Friday night he'd walk up the stairs, and it was wearing on him. He finally come to me after a few weeks, says, these guys, they think the show sucks. They think you don't know what you're doing. The racing's not exciting. Nobody knows what's going on. What are we going to do? I said, who cares? Who cares? They're there every week. That's what they bought the ticket for. They're either going to love it or they're going to hate it. We can't make everybody happy. That's why they come. There's only one winner a night. There's a whole bunch of losers here. They got to get used to it. I sure have. I didn't win races by winning them all. I won a couple by losing a whole bunch. So he took that and started to sit with those people and started to talk to them. And they were loyal fans, and they started to get what it was we were doing, and they started to come around. And I wish that had been the end of Kevin's stress. When he says people would be irate, I know as a competitor, I get irate. I get mad. Like, if I was being treated fairly, no problem. Rules are rules. If I'm being wronged, fairly large guy, I didn't get to be this size by being picky. Whatever's on the plate, I'll eat. Apparently some people are intimidated by that, but it never got physical. But I get my point across. So I had that understanding that when I was on the racetrack side, that I was dealing with equals. They feel the same way. They're passionate about what they're doing. They want to be here because they want to escape everything else in life. They just want to race. So one of the things, and Kevin and I never really talked about it, but if you tell people the truth, you speak from your heart, you accept responsibility, there's nothing to argue about. So it's not that hard. Truth doesn't change. If you screw up, admit it. I've been doing that myself for a long time. Screw up, admit it, oh well, move on. Through racing, Mayor Mel from Strathroy. I also had an interest in politics. Another good friend of mine had a lot of opinions about politics, but really wasn't engaged. Mayor Mel told me to come over and meet Stephen Harper when he was running for Prime Minister. in '06. He was a prime minister for a long time. We're not here talking about politics, but meet the candidates, speak to them, decide who it is you want to vote for. It's our right. It's our right not to if we don't want to also. But people have earned that right for us, should exercise it. So my friend and I are over there waiting to meet Mr. Harper. And I was a little bit late when I got there, so the opportunity was gone. Walked in, did a speech, I'm standing outside. How can I get this guy's attention? How can I leave a mark? He's walking out with his security. I have a pen that I slide my business card up in. It was a chrome pen. I reach up over the crowd. Mr. Harper, give me a call when you make it to the PM's office. I'm at work one day, months later after the election, sitting in the office. Anybody that knows me well knows I don't really do that much either. Don't really want to be in the office. I'd rather be out cutting the grass, doing something else. Phone rings. I answer the phone. Hello? Yes, it's the Prime Minister calling. Sure it is. He calls here all the time. No. It's the Prime Minister calling, and I suddenly recognize his voice. Holy shit. I met the candidate to be Prime Minister and give him a card, and he actually phoned me afterwards? He can't be that bad of a guy. Not getting into politics here. It is what it is. But he called me. And what are you going to do when you get that opportunity? Buckled down, I asked questions. Not going to get down that rabbit hole right now, but he was very, very politically correct until the last question. And, oh, I'm a busy man, I got to go, don't want to talk about that. Off we went. But what I'd learned in motorsports, what I'd learned about myself at school, I thought, geez, they're just regular people. He's not really doing anything different than I've been doing at the racetrack. So I've always had an interest in politics. So taking what I learned at Delaware, the greatest learning experience I've ever had while I was getting paid to do a job that I always liked, and working with people that I loved, I thought, let's apply this to something else that can maybe change the community I live in. So I decided to run for council in Lambton Shores at home. 2010, first campaign, and I lost. But what did I learn? I learned what I needed to do not to lose the next time. I got to knock on more doors. I got to answer more questions. I got to get out there more. Can't do it from the chair at home in front of the TV or from my garage. I got to be out there in the community and just speak the truth. So that being said, fortunately, I'm serving my second term as councilor in Ward 7 in Lambton Shores. I'm a municipal councilor. I spent 10 years in London at Wolseley Barracks as a reservist. It's something that I also had interest in the past, and I challenged myself to do that. I wanted to set an example for my children. Get off your ass and out of the house, do something. Dad's in the army. This is bullshit. They're still at home watching TV. There were some Sundays coming home from exercise. I wasn't the happiest person to be around, but I challenged myself. And I've challenged myself in politics. I've challenged myself in everything I do. My dyslexia is something I live with. It doesn't control me. It doesn't guide me. I just know I have to look at things a little bit differently, slow down, and I can move forward, but it hasn't held me back. Thank you very much. I appreciate all your time.